There's the record. There's the
We're going to talk about the presidential election. Fuck y'all.
Good to go?
All right.
Boom! So much shit to talk about this week. Oh my God. AEW's Full Gear is over. We have brand new champions across AEW. Big time stuff. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about how we're doing against pro wrestling scorecards in BDR versus BDR v PWS 4. And we're going to get into so much more. WWE with the Twitch situation, possibly Kylie Ray. All kinds of stuff we're going to get into this week on
Breaking Down Woo! You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. The queen rise to the top. Oh, yeah. Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. You just made the list.
This right here is a family.
Hey, this is professional wrestler and professional podcaster Colt Boom Boom Cabana. My name is Killer Cross.
This is The Smoke Show, Scarlett Bordeaux.
What's up, guys? The After Machine, Brian Cage.
This is Ryan from Pro Wrestling Tees.
Sadly, you are not listening to The Art of Wrestling, but you made a decent choice because you're listening.
You are now listening to...
And you're listening
to
You listen to Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring. Bring it down.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening, you are watching, you are paying attention to the most inappropriate pro wrestling show in the motherfucking world. You're listening to Breaking Down the Ring. We are your ring crew.
Smitty.
Oh, Nick 19.
Just a plain white Z.
And me, the almighty one, Mikey himself. There's some shit, man, that went down. Whoo, we fucking... brand new people at the top. Oh my God. You think we'd be talking about AEW Full Gear, but we're not. We're talking about the presidential election of the United States of America. It's kind of a big deal. Election year happened. It lasted 3 years, almost as long as April lasted. April this year, it lasted 5 years. It's ridiculous how long these things tend to last, but there's finally a finish. There's an end to it, unless you're Rudy Giuliani, who's, the networks announced it. No, the states announced it by having all of the votes counted. So the networks called it based on percentages and things like that. And Joe Biden is taking over for Hall of Fame inductee, WWE Hall of Fame inductee Donald Trump. He can finally go back to getting stunners and having Vince McMahon's head shaved. We talk about this not because we're mostly not a political show. I mean, obviously we get into it when it's necessary. Presidential elections kind of a big deal, but obviously so many wrestlers have a take on this. The McMahon family has been involved with Donald Trump for a very long time, so it's not like this is straying away from the wrestling aspect of it, but a lot of this happens because of it was finally announced, so you're getting wrestler reactions, so on and so forth. But you're also getting reactions from people who were involved with wrestling that are in Donald Trump's cabinet. Linda McMahon being the one that I'm referring to. You know, she is she was formerly Trump's Small Business Administration administrator. I'll say that again. Small Business Administration administrator. Okay, we just really like all these big words.
Talk about made up titles.
I mean, come on. Vince McMahon even gave himself the title at one point.
Yeah, your husband runs a Fortune 500 company, but you're our small business administrator, VP of executive, whatever the fuck you do.
I-75 European.
let's be honest about that though. WWE is a Fortune 500 company. Back in the day, it's technically a small business, and then it got
I get
big.
it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like she doesn't know how to grow. I'm not saying she was not qualified for the position. You know, it's not like she's the education person. I don't want to get political, but but she's at least, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you look at the people that he has put into place in his administration, a lot of them you go, huh? And how did that person get that job? Because they don't have qualifications. At least with Linda McMahon, she has an idea of making small businesses profitable to become big businesses. She was there with Vince. She has Vince is in her ear probably about things. And we can shit talk all we want about how Vince handles talent, how Vince does this, how Vince does that. But Vince, with the help of competition and things like that, still took a small business, turned it public, and is now raking in so much money, even if he has to fire people just to keep the bottom line as a profit. Happens. It sucks, but Vince McMahon is making money. WWE is making money, hand over fist, sometimes, to quote CM Punk, despite himself. Now, that being said, let's segue. Linda McMahon tweeted out, stand with President real Donald Trump for a fair count of legal votes. Ignoring court orders and breaking state laws is the opposite. We must continue to challenge at VP at America First PAC. CM Punk quoted the tweet with a photo. One of CM Punk's most popular things is the pipe bomb and the Money in the Bank that have followed. CM Punk won the WWE Championship over John Cena, and at the end of the match, as he was going over the guardrail, held the title up, looked at Vince McMahon, blew him a kiss. The photo that Punk tweeted is the one of him blowing Vince McMahon a kiss. However, the face on CM Punk is now Joe Biden, and the back of the head he's blowing a kiss to while holding the WWE Championship is Donald Trump's head. Again, quoting Linda McMahon's tweet with that photo. You guys know, anyone who's watching us, anyone who's listening, anyone who's ever paid attention to us has a good fucking idea of where we stand in the political spectrum. Not a single one of us liked Trump in office, right?
I loved him. I loved him. He was great.
Yeah. Most of us, though, are not straight left voters. We're all central, basically right down the middle. I highly doubt any one of us who voted did not have only Democrats on their ballot, and that's smart. That's a personal.
That's checks and balances. That's how it's supposed to work.
And balances. Yeah. You can't fucking tell me that everybody on one specific side matches up with everything that you have. You feel morally
correct.
It's not fucking possible. Right, unless of course the one side is all white supremacists, then fuck the fucking guys.
Right? Yeah, right. No,
and so that's what it is. There's essentially, so when you see one dude trying to fucking just divide everything, you're like, fuck off. And obviously that's, most likely, but so therefore, when you see things like this, when you just watch people so blindly, Linda McMahon being one of them, so blindly following things like this, it hurts you because these are people that you grew up watching. Right? You could remember cheering Linda McMahon when she stood the fuck up from the wheelchair and kicked Vince in the fucking nuts? These are things that as children we watched, we grew up and we fucking loved. And now we're watching some of the people that we grew up loving being so divisive and angry, and it sucks. But with Biden becoming a president, a lot of people in the entire fucking world are happy. Right? Across the world. I'm not talking the United States. I'm talking the world. You have so many people congratulating him. People that Trump boasted about being friends with. Prime Minister of England, Boris. I can't remember his fucking last name. The guy that looks like Trump. His hair. Him congratulating the vice president. Germany's leader congratulating the vice president for now president-elect. This is a worldwide thing of happiness that this dude is gone. So when you see our wrestlers, people that we love tweeting and everything, it's beautiful. Sasha Banks, The high five hands, they're not prayer hands. The high five hands. Thankful. Let's grow. Blue heart.
MVP was somebody who's real was a real adamant on social media during the election.
Can I finish the tweets? Can I finish talking about the tweets? And we'll see if MVP is in
No,
there.
it wouldn't be unlike Smitty to blow the lead or anything. You know?
Right. Not like I'm literally going through a whole bunch of wrestler tweets, and Smitty's like, what about this person? Let me get I don't even know what's going on here. I will say one of them in the first 4 is surprising to me. So Sasha Banks, high five hands, thankful, let's grow, blue heart. Sami Zayn, don't let the door hit your ass. Then obviously Trump tweeted, I won this election by a lot, and Twitter right there already, flagging his tweet. Sami Zayn quoted that as well, goes, this feels better than I expected. Mickey James tweeted out, attention, this is a political tweet. Can I get a amen? Hashtag let's go Joe. Hashtag hit him up Harris. Hashtag 46. That is all. Have a great day. Thank you, Jesus GIF with Steve Harvey. If I'm going to say about a surprise right there, she's a country girl. Majority of country girls, I would think, would lean more red. But again, that's probably from looking at the rural area of the map.
Well, I mean, and you're also doing the statistics where just because she's from the South means she has to be a Republican. I mean, that's normally the case, but doesn't.
That's
always
why I'm going
happen.
off norms, and
Right.
all of us shouldn't go off norms. But hey, sometimes stereotypes are true.
Yeah.
John Layfield, Bradshaw, the first woman, and we wouldn't know this. He blocked us on Twitter. The first woman and first person of color has been elected to a presidential ticket. Long overdue, but so good to see. Forget politics. Let's be the United States now. Congrats, Kamala Harris.
Well, really? JBL tweeted that out?
There you
The
go.
whole Republican gig was just a gimmick for real?
Remember what I said about the first 4? You're going to get surprised. Obviously, Dave Bautista tweeted a picture of a blue hat that says "Make America Decent Again." And it says, thank you to all my brothers and sisters who stood up and spoke out against lies, hate, and division for 4 exhausting years to fight for decency. I'll see you in Georgia. Mick Foley tweeted a video, but the tweet went along with a few quick thoughts about this historic election. Thanks, Dave Bautista and real Kevin Nash, for encouraging me to voice my opinion. Kevin Nash. Let's begin the process of healing this great country. Hashtag election 2020. Iron Sheik tweeted, did the 2020 just turn babyface? Chelsea Green raised hands up with a New York Times article saying Kamala Harris has made history.
That's all the Iron Sheik said?
That's
it?
all. Yeah, as far as in here, that's it. The
Wow, that's
just
surprising. It's surprising there's no fuck off or
Yeah, no
jabroni or
Joy Janela tweeted, LOL, you thought I'd actually get in shape for you miserable internet fucks. I wrestle hour matches in my sleep. Fuck abs and congrats, Joe Biden. Fucking MJF, thank God. Everyone can go back to focusing solely on me now.
That's good.
Ricochet, I knew there was a reason I always liked Philly. And that's it. So what were you saying about MVP? Because obviously he's not in this.
I was saying during the election, like during the 4 or 5 day election, he was like pretty much responding to people that were like supporting Trump and whatnot.
That was it. That's all you had to say. Man.
Like, do you have like
social media during the election?
Okay.
Not after, but obviously.
No, but I thought you were at least gonna like tell us what the tweet said.
Right, like give us something.
Well, I don't have my laptop. I don't have my notebook in front of me, and my battery's dead on it right now.
Andy doesn't have a shirt either, folks.
Smitty dressed up for this, man. He's got as much on MVP's tweets as he's got on sleeves, so that's how.
But you'll see him in a 3-piece suit any random Wednesday of the week.
So true. So on to AEW Full Gear, where we saw new champions crowned. We saw Breaking Down the Ring take the lead over Pro Wrestling Scorecards. coming out of the last pay-per-view, we were all tied up at 159 points. After AEW's Full Gear, we are now ahead 204 points to 177 points. Let's talk about Nick. Nick got real mad at me the last two pay-per-views because I just ran through with the 15. I'm the only one. I was the only one to have the two number ones. And then Nick's like, fuck you. I'm going to come up and tickle your butthole. And I'm coming up right behind you and reaching around and dingling your balls. And now I'm the other person who has 2 wins in pro wrestling scorecards versus breaking down the ring 4. Nick came through with 110 points on his pro wrestling scorecard. Z was like, look, man, I got 0 last time. I'm about to get 12, bitch. And he came through second place, 105 points, tied with Daniel from Pro Wrestling Scorecards to get 12 points.
I actually
Smitty's
looked at his scorecard to make sure he didn't copy me.
Smitty was all like, God damn it, I love sucking dick. I'm going to come in 4th.
That's the only reason.
That's the only reason. Like, I got to be really good. No, Smitty was like, I've been kind of shit in the bed the last couple ones. I lost my title because I'm like Sasha Banks. I have no idea how to retain anything I win without the help of some white girl. So he wanted to come in 4th and try and get his title back. And he got himself, reason he's in 4th is again because Daniel and Z tied for 2nd, so no 3rd place. 4th place for Smitty. Walt came through in 5th place. I rounded out everything for 6th place for our crew. Final for our crew, 6th place overall in this. And then you got Oscar coming in with 7th place, Jess coming in with 8th place, Mario hitting 9th place, and good old Michael finished it off, getting 0 points for this team, and in 10th place with 76 points. Daniel and I were kind of talking last night, and it was really slow at work for me. So I sent out a text. I was like, man, had I known that FTR was leaving AEW, I would have not even picked the Young Bucks to win. But then he comes back and he says, where did you see that? And the Bucks had a press conference afterwards, and they talked about FTR getting a rematch. Well, Dawson, I don't know, Dax, I don't know, one of the guys from FTR were like, thank you so much to people who have been on this journey, watching us through and through. Top guys, ... out. That brings me to, because we've all talked about how they didn't really have a contract with AEW, how it was kind of rushed and everything. So on my first
everyone they brought in during COVID only had so many appearances on their contract. They didn't have actual like long-term contracts because no one knew what COVID was going to bring. So they kind of played it safe. Like, for example, like Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona only signed a 5-appearance contract.
I thought it was 6.
Maybe it was 6, but it was number of appearances. So everyone signed during COVID only signed contracts for number of appearances as opposed to like a year or 2-year contract because no one knew what COVID was going to bring.
That makes sense. But yeah, so I took a huge risk on this scorecard. I assumed that you were going to see FTR versus Young Bucks happen again. I knew there was a stipulation that if the Young Bucks lost, they would not get another shot at the tag titles. Now, we knew they weren't going to do with them what they did with Cody and the top title, the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So I did not expect the Young Bucks to lose, but I thought count out. Count out is no one wins, no one loses, just moves on, so on and so forth. So I went no one. Who makes the pin? No one. Who takes the pin? I was expecting to fucking run the gauntlet on that one.
Or time limit draw?
0. Scored a big fat 0. So I'm kind of looking at this going, I got 97 points with a big fat 0. All y'all lost to me. Period. Sorry. Just Sorry,
no,
Nick.
Because we didn't make idiotic picks in the middle that made us lose.
I didn't get a 0. Wasn't that-
Yet. You haven't gotten a 0 yet. And I believe you did get a 0. Like
No, I'm talking
last
about
month.
this time. I'm talking about this time.
What do
Yeah,
you
the
mean?
second one I got a 0, but not this one. I didn't get a 0 this one. I didn't get a 0 any of the last 2.
Okay.
So there.
Have you ever won the full community? Twice?
No.
Okay.
They
then.
bringing up old shit, Z.
But here's the thing. They were building this match. Plus, hey, listen, I'm a Red Sox fan. I know how to go from worst to first. All right, guys? Anyways,
Worst
the
second.
reason this match needed an ending that wasn't a count out, that was kind of a decisive win, is because they've been building this match before FTR even left WWE. They've been building this match via social media for years. So to have it end like that, the internet community, which is 98% AEW fans anyway, would have been like Trump supporters right now. They would have been throwing a fucking fit, because how do you build this match for 7 fucking years and have no finish to it? Like, I mean, I can understand why they'd be mad.
Where were you yesterday when I was making my picks?
We didn't do live picks. Otherwise, I would have definitely made that point. Because
That's true.
I went through it and I was like, all right, like, I don't think they would take it off FTR, but they've been building this match. It needs to have a finish, and the Bucks have this stipulation. They're not going to do it twice with Cody. I mean, they really could have, but that would have just been really dumb booking. And I mean, this gives you somewhere to go with it, but the Bucks, I don't know what the Bucks are right now. They literally just super kick everybody and anybody. So like, it's hard to tell if they're a heel, or if they keep doing it, they're just going to become even more babyface. But Nick, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Since, or you and Smitty, since I have not watched pay-per-views, I've just read the clip notes. Was this a typical Young Bucks high spot fest with no psychology, or was this hybrid between, the high spot shit that they do, but they add the psychology of the FTR style of wrestling? Like, how did this match come out on TV?
For me, I think it was less of the high spots and a little more geared towards FTR, because there was some storytelling with the injury to, I think, Matt
With
or Nick,
Matt
I can't
Jackson.
remember. Yeah, with Matt, and then Dax Harwood injured his hand during the match, so they played to that. There were a couple of spots here and there, but nothing that was like over the top and made me feel like that's what it was going to turn into.
14 aerials.
It didn't feel like that, though. It really didn't.
There is one clip. Sorry to cut you off, Nick, but there was one clip I seen of, I think it was Cash Wheeler doing a springboard. What was it, for 360 or something, like a springboard splash, basically, with a flip off the rope. And my very first thought was, they tote how they're all fists, no flips, and yet they did a flip in a match.
I think for me that's okay, because I think they would have to adapt to a little bit of the style that the Young Bucks have in their match to kind of compete with that. One thing that caught me off guard, and I don't know if it was a botch or if they meant to do it, but there was a spot, or not a spot, but there was this part where it was Matt or Nick, and he was laying on the mat towards the corner of FTR, and Cash Wheeler was in the ring holding his leg, one of the Young Bucks, and he tagged in Dax. Dax comes in, runs off the ropes, and he straight up just pushed Cash Wheeler down. Like, it felt like he did it on purpose. It was a botch, or maybe he was doing that to kind of stretch the leg out. And JR and the commentary crew, they didn't say anything about it. So it felt really weird. I don't know if it was a botch or if it was intentional, but other than that, I enjoyed the match. I really did.
I wonder if maybe he had the actual injured leg, so he kind of just pushed him off of him.
Yeah.
Smitty, what did you think about that match? Did you think it was a typical high spot match, or?
I kind of agree with Nick. I feel like it was a little bit more of the hybrid where the Bucks did get their high spot shit in, but it catered more to that the physical style of FTR. And it was probably I was surprised at how good the match actually was. It kind of lived up to the internet hype, probably.
You were surprised that the match was as good as it was?
I didn't know how to this was the first time they actually got in the ring together, so I wasn't sure if the chemistry was the chemistry was gonna be overhyped. It was overhyped chemistry or not. So I was surprised with what I saw out of it.
Yeah,
So
I think
what
it
would you
was
guys rate the match?
Nick, what were you saying? Hold on, Nick, what were you saying?
I was gonna say I think it was a good slow burn. It took a few minutes for them to really get a feel for how each team how they would work together, and then as the match kept going on longer and longer, I was sitting there okay, this is it, and it would be a near fall, and I'd be like, damn, this is still going on. So that's why for me I think it felt like it wasn't so much a high spot match, but a good mix because of the length of the match. I'd probably give the match a good 8 out of 10. Or if you want to do the Meltzer scale, I'd give it a 4.
No, we're gonna melt the scales, get higher. It's the Bucks.
That match went almost 30 minutes though, and you still felt like it flew.
Well, yeah, because it was entertaining, and a lot of times those long matches, they seem like they get drug out, but I didn't feel like it was 30 minutes because it had me on the whole time.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So what I was gonna say is you were invested the whole time, so the 30-minute match felt like a normal 10-minute match.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It felt like It felt like a good championship match.
I mean, when I was going over the Cliff Notes, I did read that this was one of the best tag team matches done in the last decade in any brand, and I was just curious what you guys thought about it.
Mm-hmm. Good shit.
Now, the man known as Matt Hardy has brought a deletion match to 3 different promotions. He's brought one. He started it in TNA, Impact. He brought them to WWE, and now he has brought one to AEW by taking on Sammy Guevara. Smitty, what were you thinking with watching this match? Does it live up to the hype of the old school? Is it better than what he did in WWE, which again was full him, right? Let's not make it seem like there was any Vince in that deletion match in the WWE. That was 100% Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt that went over that match. They were given creative freedom. Vince just didn't get it because he's dumb. What were your thoughts on the AEW version of a deletion match?
It was proof that Matt Hardy is the master of the cinematic match. He's the reason that the cinematic match is getting so much attention that it is. It was for me, it was better than the WWE stuff, and it was just about almost as good as the Impact stuff. Also, Sammy Guevara is a great talent. I was surprised with the appearance of Gangrel and Shane Helms, and that was fun. And Senior Benjamin made his appearance. His first AEW. Yeah, huh?
Of course he did.
So it was good to see more of the broken universe involved inside of this match, which one of the things that make those deletion matches as fun as they are is getting inside and getting to see the whole universe of Matt Hardy play on television.
Nick, what were your thoughts on it?
I've never seen the Impact version, so I need to go back and watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
That's the original, and that's fucking I mean, you can't top it.
The Roman candles
sequels don't do it justice.
So, well, I mean, I definitely think it was better than the WWE one, even though the WWE one was really good. I don't know. It was really good. I really enjoyed the monster truck at the beginning, crushing the golf cart. Smitty, they did a dig at, I think it was WWE between Matt Hardy and Shane Helms. Do you remember what it was? Because for the life of me, I can't remember. They stood there and right in front of the lake, and they said something to each other. Fuck, I'll have to go back and watch it, but it was great. I wish I could remember what it was.
Probably a dig at Jeff Hardy I was kind of halfway out of it when I was watching this match. Or when I first watched it, I went back and watched it. Went back and watched it later.
But yeah, it was really good. They got I almost said Street Profits, Private Party involved.
Same thing.
Yeah, it was good. I was excited to see Gangrel. Actually, I kind of popped for that a little bit. I didn't expect it.
So, who went into the Lake of Reincarnation?
It had to be Helms, right?
It was Helms. He came out as Hurricane.
He came out as Hurricane?
Yeah.
I mean, the minute we talked about Gangrel before the show, the minute he said that Shane Helms was there too, I was like, oh, okay. He fell into the lake and came out as somebody. Would have been
Shane
better
Helms
if they would have brought back all of
Hurricane.
3 count for this, but you know.
So Matt didn't go into the lake at all?
No, not that I remember.
Weird.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was kind of surprised that Matt Hardy ended up going over here because of the feud with Sammy and him taking the last match. I still picked Matt to win on my scorecard because I mean it's his match, but I, in the back of my mind, thought maybe they, in the interest of putting over younger talent, like that could have been Sammy's niche, especially if they're planning on breaking up the inner circle. Like this would be the direction he could go, and then he could be like part of the Matt Hardy multi-universe kind of thing. Like that, I think that would have been interesting to see. But yeah. My next question is, with what happened in their match prior. Okay, with Matt going through the table and them kind of messing up that spot and him bumping his head. Do you guys feel like they were less physical in this match because of it, or was the physicality still there?
It was there, but it was toned down a tad bit.
Yeah, I would agree. There, you could tell that they weren't really interested in doing any kind of high risk spots or anything like that.
Well, that's stupid.
This was more like basically like the Impact one, where it was more like fun, kind of goofy, gimmicky stuff that they did.
All right. Now, another match that is annoying me. The Eliminator Finals. Kenny Omega going over Hangman Page. First, let's talk about the match. Nick, we'll start with you since Smitty started the last one. How was this match? Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, I feel just go. So to me, I think this should have been a really good match. What are your thoughts on it?
They did. They went hard, and it was a great opening match. It was physical. I think there was some good psychology, and I actually really enjoyed the finish because Kenny Omega got Hangman up on his shoulders for the one-winged angel, and typically I expect the way that it was going, I was ready for Hangman to reverse it, maybe not necessarily win the match, but I was waiting for him to reverse it, and he was like trying to, and Kenny got him over anyway. He just dropped him. I enjoyed the match. I don't know how I feel about the whole storyline, but the match was really good.
What do you mean?
Well, when the Eliminator tournament started, it only took me about 5 seconds to say, okay, it's going to be Kenny and Hangman in the final.
Yeah, the minute they flashed the bracket and they were on opposite sides, you kind of knew, right?
Yeah. So, that whole build, I was just kind of like, So the backstory behind it all, I'm not really all that invested in. I don't know how interested I am to see Moxley and Omega, if that's where they're going here soon. But again, the match was good.
Smitty.
The match, it was like they went full throttle. Reminded me of a lot of the match they had back in New Japan. So it was a tad bit slower than New Japan match, but it was still those guys, like you said, they pretty much went full throttle at each other. Real physical. And I'm kind of like, I kind of see Kenny starting to become the old sweeper again. So that's what I'm really excited to see where I'm actually on the opposite side of Nick. I'm kind of excited to see where they go with Kenny at this point, especially with how the show ended after the main event.
How did it end?
it pretty much just comes with the whole encounter. So pretty much Kenny comes out and encounters Moxley with a pretty much with a baseball bat.
Yeah, they did the whole New Japan thing where as soon as the match was over, he like confronted Moxley, and they just had like a little. From what I read, they had like a little
stare down,
and that's how it closed.
I can't remember now. It's been a year. I'm sorry. According to COVID and election season, it's been 7 years since AEW has kicked off with Moxley.
That's how dog feels.
Yeah. So they never really had a closure to Moxley versus Omega, if I'm not mistaken, right, Smitty? Because there was like injuries, like Mox was like injured and stuff, and then I think Kenny got injured a little bit.
Margaret injured, Kenny got injured, and then they had the I think it was the lights out match, and that was kind of it. Where Mox went over, and they pretty much had no real conclusion to it.
Okay. So the reason I say that I'm not happy about this, and it's something that I telegraphed from the moment AEW was announced. I said, you got all these guys as the EVPs, and these guys are going to be your champions at some point. As it's currently looking, unless Cody drops a TNT title, probably at their next pay-per-view, you're going to have the entire executive vice presidents of a company as the champions.
Didn't Darby Allin win last night? Yeah, Darby Allin won. Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, Darby took the title. Yeah, I was going to say.
He got attacked by Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He got a roll-up in.
All right, I'll retract that, but it's still possible. However, the next pay-per-view, Kenny Omega is your AEW World Heavyweight Champion, and the Young Bucks are your tag team champions.
All right.
I stated when this started, the whole booking for this company, if it started going as we're putting ourselves over, it was going to start feeling like WCW when the boys were like, I want to be this, I'm going to be that. Finger poke of doom, so on and so forth. Granted, I am not saying it feels like that yet, because it doesn't, right? You know the Young Bucks were eventually going to take tag titles. You know Kenny Omega was eventually going to be an AEW World Champion. I'm not saying it seems like they're pissing down their roster for these guys to be at the top, right? It has been a year. It's been over a year. It's been a year and a half. And the Bucks won their first tag titles, right? Cool. I'm not arguing it. I'm not against it. It's been over a year and a half. Kenny Omega finally has an AEW World Championship title match, right? Again, not against it. I understand that these are still really high up talents, okay? But I feel like we're inching there because while we're talking about how great the FTR Young Bucks match was, where are the other tag teams? You see stuff about Best Friends. You see a little bit about Dark Order because it's a faction. It seems like to get where they wanted to go, a Young Bucks FTR match didn't need titles involved in it, right? It didn't. We talked about it earlier. It's been building for 7 fucking years.
But the only reason I get where you're going as far as them not needing titles, but the match is booked as like best tag team versus best tag team. So why wouldn't it be for a title if both teams are the best teams? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the same time, if you don't have these teams fighting for the titles beforehand, you know what I'm saying? They don't need the belts. Don't have to be with. You can still say they're some of the best tag teams even without the belts. Because they didn't need the belts to validate the best tag team claim. Right? When like it's like having the Hardys go against the Dudley Boys now. Right? Let's pretend. No, fuck it. It's like the Hardys, the TLC match, right? It was for the titles, correct?
Yep.
Anytime post that though, those matches, because of what that match itself did for all 3 tag teams, you didn't need titles for those teams to go at each other, right? It eventually, I mean, it got there a lot, But if you're building something like that, you didn't need it. And in the grand scheme of things, if you're talking about your company is to build people up, then it's kind of like, oh, we got FTR, cool. We're going to skyrocket them to the top of the division. And everyone who's been here since we started, sorry. I just feel like,
I see
I'm being real fucking nitpicky. I fully admit I'm being real nitpicky with this, but it's more of a what about rather than a what are you doing right now?
And
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and your thing about Kenny, if you're gonna have your first world champion that's not like a former WWE guy, wouldn't you want it to be Kenny? Like, isn't Kenny like as far as their talent roster goes, isn't Kenny technically your most over non-WWE guy? Because even Cody spent time in the WWE. Kenny never, not once, never. You know what I mean? Like, I think he had like a tryout match or something. So wouldn't it make sense for your most over non-WWE? Yeah, but
Smitty, are you just like relaxing and like laying in bed with us right now? Is that what's going on? No wonder you don't have a shirt on. He's not. He's on mute.
Moment with Smitty.
Right.
Just that's all it takes is a moment.
Hello, I'm Smitty.
What was that? What was that radio show with Alan Allman? Pillow Talk or some shit like that?
Pillow Talk.
We want you naked, knee deep in tofu.
All right, and now I'm done with the podcast. See you guys next week.
Yep, miso gone. I get what you're saying, and again, I'm not arguing Kenny doesn't deserve the title. My thought process is right now. It's not even like so Cody had it. Now Cody doesn't have it, right? And the Young Bucks have the tag titles. Are the Young Bucks going to drop the tag titles and then Kenny's going to have the AEW World title? Just so it seems like it's not like the entire elite running the fucking show with all the gold doing stuff.
I have a feeling because Matt Jackson's leg injury is actually legit, but he was doing like physical therapy so he could get through this match with FTR. They might come out on Wednesday night and have to drop the titles due to injury. So that way they can say they never lost the titles. And then when Matt's healthy, you have a rematch of FTR versus the Bucks, which if it's old school booking, like that's the way they will go with it. I should go with it. But so there's a possibility that just because they won the title at the pay-per-view, they might not be your tag champions come the next pay-per-view. If the injury, unless it's all kayfabe and they're just doing a real good job on social media and Matt's not really injured, but there have been reports that his leg injury is legitimate.
So then my next question then falls into the whole thing. Why not get FTR for a couple more appearances if you're already talking about doing a rematch and do a count out, finish it? If the Young Bucks are just going to have to drop the titles anyway, there's no real...
I see your point, but it all falls on the stipulation of the match. They probably if they never put the stipulation on the match that they could never challenge for the titles if they lost, then I'm 100% on board with your count out, because then if you do a count out, you can get 3 more months of building this absolute dream match. But even FTR has come out in recent weeks talking about how they were not that they weren't happy. They just weren't exactly impressed with the build of this match. They feel like it should have been so much more, especially since it's like years in the making. But also it's pro wrestling and COVID, and you do what you can. So,
well, outside of the Young Bucks, I get what Mikey is saying, and I understand both sides of the coin, but I feel like at some point, we don't know if Kenny's going to take the title, at the next pay-per-view Revolution. I mean, obviously that's all signs point to that, but that would be at that point in February, end of February, almost 2 years into AEW's product, when is it safe to put the strap on somebody like Kenny? And I like Brian's point. I like Z's point when he says that's the guy you want to put it on that's not ex-WWE or any relation to WWE. But I feel like at that point, I wouldn't be like, yes, that's perfect timing, but I would be okay with it because, you know, I mean, they're nearly 2 years out. And at some point, I think I don't necessarily, maybe you don't have to put it on Kenny, but at some point, I think it's a good idea to, because he is that known star outside of ex-WWE guys.
Well, and especially since they're going back to like the gimmick that originally got him over in New Japan. Like the first year he kind of just floundered. They actually had him on a losing streak for the first 6 to 8 months of AEW, and then they kind of changed that. They put the titles on him and Paige. They did a little storyline, you know, had them split up. But during that time, in singles action, Kenny was starting to win matches. And now they're like, fuck it, you're going full-blown cleaner on us. And that was the guy who got over in New Japan. So you had, which New Japan fan base is also AEW fan base. Like, that's just what it is. So now you're going to get most of your crowd pumped up because they want to see Kenny as your champion and they want to see him as the cleaner. So, I mean, this is kind of just pandering to the fan base. This might not have anything to do with being an EVP because, I mean, we all kind of thought going forward, like, had Jericho not signed with the company, the belt would have already been on Kenny, right?
Hangman for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but you know what I mean? Like, it would have been on one of the elite by now.
Right.
But, you know, Jericho to carry it for the first year, then Moxley for the second. And Moxley was a workhorse. Until Smitty brought it to my attention, I didn't realize, like, the double duty he was pulling before COVID. So he really is a star across the board. And I think he's been a good champion, but I'm sick of these gimmick matches for championship matches. Like, I just want to see a good old wrestling match for the world title. I mean, don't get me wrong.
You did that with MJF.
Brutality. What's that?
You did it with MJF.
Right, but I mean, he's done more championship gimmick matches than anybody else. I mean, and I get that's kind of his niche because he was a CZW guy, and I'm all for blood and brutality, but I also feel like as a wrestling championship, you need more legitimate wrestling matches and less gimmicky shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's kind of what he's doing, more of the wrestling stuff over in he was doing more of the wrestling stuff with New Japan as a US champion.
Right. I mean,
so
and
Mikey,
the thing. Go ahead, Nick.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say with Moxley, like, he is a really good technician as well, so you can do more legitimate wrestling matches with him. Yeah, that's all I had.
I think they're going to do it. I think before even Kenny gets a shot, they're going to give Lance Archer another shot at him. And like,
why Lance Archer though?
Hold on.
All right.
My original point. We're getting away from it. I am not saying Kenny doesn't deserve the belt. I'm not saying the Young Bucks don't deserve the tag titles. What I'm saying is, Nick, you made a point earlier. He goes, is it too soon? Is 2 years still too soon? And my thought process is it'll never be a good time in my head, because all it does is bring me back to WCW folding on itself and us losing some of the best wrestling because there was no more competition. And I will always have that thought in my head anytime people who are running a company give themselves top titles. And again, right, I'm not saying it's not deserving. I'm not saying none of these people ever deserve to have a belt. I'm not saying it's a dumb idea to give Kenny the belt as the first person who's never touched WWE like that, who made his popularity off of everything else. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying what comes after that, because Kenny for sure deserves the AEW World Championship. He's a fucking amazing wrestler, right? The Bucks are a great tag team. They do deserve the AEW tag titles. Fuck, I still feel Cody somehow deserves the AEW World Championship. You know, Cody's a major proponent for all of this stuff. But that's where then my fear lies. Because I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but what happens when they just want it? Are they going to go the route of WCW? I'm not saying they're doing that now. I'm not saying Kenny going, all right, man, can I get this title now? I don't think that's what's happening. I think this is great story building, because that's why I made sure to ask because I couldn't remember, but I was pretty sure Mox Omega didn't really finish, and there was a lot of injuries and stuff in there. So there's still a storyline behind this. It's not just finger poke, I get the title. It's not, oh, it's your birthday, Goldberg, we're just gonna break your streak because I want this fucking belt. That's not what's going on here. I fully agree that there's storylines, there's implementations, they're making things. Young Bucks winning the titles over a 7-year build on social media, FTR, all this stuff. There's not just, I want it, I'm taking it. And that's great. That is spectacular, because at least you're giving us something to build into. So when you have it, we're not like, why the fuck do you have it? I'm worried about after is mainly what I'm getting at, because the thought of especially all of them around the same time, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, all the elite have all the fucking gold except the women's title, because they don't have a woman unless it's Mrs. Matt. That would piss me off. But that's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying
Brandy Rose is the only one I can think of.
Brandy, yeah, you're right. Brandy Rose. I totally forgot about Brandy Rose.
Oh, Cody got his last name back. That's another thing he did.
That's true.
But even if they did have all the gold, at this point, you could use the psychology of them being EVPs and use that in the storyline, and it gives it a sense of realism as well. Like, they could almost turn into, like, I don't know, Corporation 2020. Like, we have all the gold, we have all the power. They could use that in a storyline as well. You know what I mean?
Agreed. But again, if it's a consistent thing, if it ever feels like they took it because they wanted it, rather than building storylines and people and just burying other ones because they want to be at the top, that's where my worry is, right? And that's it. And I don't think they're stupid enough to do that. But
they have a lot of good wrestling minds behind the scenes that I hope, unlike WWE, wouldn't just be yes men. Like, you got your Arn Anderson, you got your Tully Blanchard, you got your Dean Malenko, that you run these things by them and they'll be like, well, that's a good idea, guys, but what if we slow played it? What if we did it a different way? What if we made it, you know what I mean? Like, guys tell them, like, hey, just because you want the title doesn't necessarily make it make sense. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know.
Again, I'm not saying, I can't state it enough. I want Kenny to hold that title. I'm okay with the Bucks. I'm okay. I'm happy with the Bucks winning these titles. This is your company. You know what I'm saying? At some point, you kind of, and it's not like you're shitty fucking wrestlers who are living off of past glory. This is current hype. You know what I'm saying? This is current greatness. The Young Bucks are fucking good. Kenny Omega is fucking good. They deserve to be upper echelons, even if it is their own company. Just as long as it's not at the sake of burying everyone because you want to be at the top of your own company, not because you deserve to be at the top due to a storyline or something else that was going on. That's it. That's all I'm worried about.
I would like to see, if Kenny has the title and if the Young Bucks hold their titles for any significant amount of time, somebody that they've been building, like an MJF, for example, goes over on Kenny Omega next summer for the title, or another tag team, even like the Dark Order, going over on the Young Bucks, because then that's giving them that credibility. I fucking beat Kenny Omega. I beat Chris Jericho, so on and so on. So I think that at that point, then it's like, okay, they did that right. And yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. What happens next, for sure.
And that's all. I don't want to make it seem like I'm shitting on them, because normally I come off as the guy who's shitting on AEW, but these storylines make sense. All of them do. I'm not.
And also a lot of their divisions are still kind of like, the divisions aren't really lacking. Like, if you look at the main event picture, you got guys like Lance Hoyt, Brian Cage,
Lance Archer.
Archer, but you also like Adam Page. You have a strong like roster built like to still kind of building itself. And in the tag division, you still got a strong tag division. You got the Lucha Brothers, you got Dark Order, you have Private Party. You don't see that much of them, but you still got like Best Friends. It's not like these divisions are lacking in talent.
Yeah, but you can say the same as WWE. Their tag division isn't lacking in talent; it's just lacking in exposure.
Yeah, because I mean, like, again, that's what my other point is. Where everyone else go to get FTR up there with the belts and give Young Bucks the titles. I mean, I'm honestly surprised we haven't seen the Lucha Bros as your tag championship, because I think they're even better than the Bucks.
I know Penta's. Phoenix or Penta's hurt right now. They got hurt.
Phoenix.
We're talking about a year and a half, though, bro. Again, I'm not trying to shit.
If I'm recalling correctly, though, the Lucha Brothers have had quite a bit of injuries over the past year. If one of them's not hurt, the other one is. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's been the case.
One of them from being able to come and wrestle too. So
Penta was the one that he got stuck with travel restrictions.
So again, that's what I'm saying. I also understand that some of this might be rushed because of COVID. Like, I'm not trying to make it look like it's a bad thing. So anyway, overall, the AEW pay-per-view. Smitty, what are you thinking on it?
I thought it was really good. I'm giving it an 8.5. I think the one thing that surprised me most is the fact that MJF did go over on Jericho.
You were surprised at that?
Saw that coming.
Well, I'm thinking fuck away.
So my thing, I didn't think if they were gonna let MJF into the inner circle.
They still might not.
MJF, the inner circle didn't need MJF. MJF doesn't need the inner circle.
Right.
So my thought process was that they were gonna screw over MJF and just so he couldn't get in.
They can still do that even though he won the match. It's a heel faction.
Well, and plus, I think the idea here is from what I've read in different articles, they're going to split up the inner circle, and MJF is going to be the wedge between all of it. So
that makes sense. Nick, how did you feel about it?
I agree with Smitty with the 8.5.
You agreed with Smitty.
Yeah. Well, it was a really good pay-per-view. It was a little long. I mean, it ran almost 4 hours again. It did run 4 hours with the Allison Kay and Serena Deeb match in the pre-show.
It's the buy-in, sir.
Buy-in, sorry. I wasn't surprised with the MJF victory. I thought the match was really good. Chris Jericho can still go. I mean, he pulled a Frankensteiner in that match that looked really good, and it was kind of like, whoa, you know. The one thing that I am getting sick of, and Z has mentioned it a few times, is the commentary. It's not to say that they're bad, but I lose interest in what they're saying, and for me, that is a big part of it. And when you have especially fucking God, why can't I think of his name right now? No.
Tony Schiavone?
No.
Excalibur.
Jesus Christ.
Just next time, say the masked one.
Yeah, his shit gets really, really stale because he'll be, talking and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, it sounds like he's trying to push out a big shit when he gets excited. Oh, Joe suicide!
So he's like Michael Cole stale.
Yeah.
Michael Cole gets a bad rap. Michael Cole doesn't suck as a lot of people say he does, man.
But I think part of the problem with the commentary in AEW is, unlike WWE, obviously they have a earwig in at all times and have to change on the fly, but they're kind of reading off a teleprompter but they're also, they probably deviate from that, but they have something to go off. Whereas AEW, almost 100% that it's completely unscripted. So there's times that things happen in matches where they don't know what the fuck to say.
Yeah. Well, and then like sometimes, Excalibur will throw out these names for these moves, and that's cool if he's got a name for them and if that's what really. But eventually, I'm to the point. It's like you're a fucking know-it-all, and it's really annoying. Like I find myself not listening to, especially him, but all of them half the time.
Which is funny because if you remember back in ECW days, that's all Joey Styles did was call every move by its technical name. And it was wonderful. And it was a great break. So that's what's crazy to me is when you're listening to Excalibur do, you're like, fuck you. But here, Joey Styles did it. You're like, this is some of the best. Joey Styles is considered one of the best commentators in wrestling of all time. Period.
Because he did the whole damn thing by himself.
Yeah, he did the thing by himself. He fucking called every move. He was on it with it. JR still, there's still a lot of good people, but it's crazy to hear because I'm agreeing with you, Nick. Like you hear Excalibur and you're just like, shut the fuck up, right? But you heard Joey Styles do the exact same thing and you were like, give me more. His fucking catchphrase was ridiculous, over the top and stupid, and yet you still loved every time fucking Joey Styles went, oh my God.
Now,
you loved it. But you hear Excalibur doing it now, and he's like, shut up, you son of a bitch. You put a mask down here, too.
Joey Styles and JR being the exception, your best commentators of all time are former wrestlers. They know, and part of it, like, look at Jericho. Jericho's so good on commentary because he's a wrestler, so he knows what they kind of know what kind of story the talent are trying to tell, and they try and commentate accordingly. Like, look at right now, in my personal opinion, your best duo is Wade Barrett, Beth Phoenix, and then Joe Vick's in there too. But I think Wade Barrett and Beth Phoenix are two of the best commentators right now. And them being former in-ring competitors definitely helps with the story. They enhance the story that's going on in the ring because they kind of can see where the talent are going. I
like Joe on the mic too.
Dude,
I like
Joe
I like Taz on commentary.
No, Samoa Joe.
Right, but again, these are all former in-ring talents.
Right.
Gordon Soley.
Yeah, Gorilla
Gordon
Monsoon,
Soley's
Jesse Ventura was
regarded as one of the greatest of all time. Not an in-ring talent.
But again, exceptions to every rule. You have JR, you have Joey Styles, you have Michael Cole, and you have
Tony
Gordon
Schiavone.
Sully.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying is each panel, even Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon, they were both in-ring talents. Most people don't remember Bobby Heenan's run. They remember him more as a manager, but he was a wrestler before he was a manager. I'm just going all-time greats. He consisted of at least one in-ring competitor. JR and the King. The King was the in-ring competitor.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, who did Mike Tenay? Taz. Mike Tenay had Taz at one point at Impact.
Right.
Not Tony Schiavone. Josh Matthews is there now.
Madison Rain or Don Callis.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
Larry Zbyszko was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. One of the main things that has been AEW's downfall, besides officiating, has always been the commentary. And it's really crazy to say. It's not even like we're fully shitting on the commentary. It's just at some points that commentary is just brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, that's it. I think we've all said the common denominator is Excalibur.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think I would love to hear JR and Schiavone go back and forth.
But
if you want to keep a 3-man team, Taz is doing great, doing double duty as a manager and doing part-time commentary.
I say you keep Excalibur only because right now everybody fucking hates him. It's natural heat. Let him be your heel commentator. Let him still act like the baby face. Let him call every move the way he wants to, and it's just going to piss people off. You're going to tune in and be like, wow, I hate this fucking guy.
I will say it's better than having Alex Marvez on commentary because I was just like, holy shit.
True.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
Alan Marvez got demoted to backstage interviewer.
He's still a part of it. So, all right. AW Full Gear. Go check it out. Obviously, one of their better pay-per-views. See, definitely made up after the last pay-per-view then, you guys, if you're going with 8.5 out of 10.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Would you say this is the best pay-per-view they've put out all over?
All year.
All year?
Of course of the year, but it's still like touching that first Double or Nothing. That first Double or Nothing, they set a really high standard for the first Double or Nothing.
Okay.
I thought Full Gear last year was really good. I think this was on par with that one too.
All right. That's what's good to hear. That's good to hear. All right. Let's talk politics. Just kidding. WWE is wonderful. Everyone loves them. It's not like they're ripping into their talents outside forms of income at all. They're 100% letting talents be who they want to be outside of the WWE. They will never, ever, at any point, do anything in the middle of one of their, let's say, I don't know, Twitch live streams that makes one of their talents get really upset, over emotional, and start crying because they feel they're getting screwed over. Oh, wait. They did. Paige on her Twitch live stream got a message. I want to say a text message, if I'm not mistaken, and then broke down saying she's over the company. She broke her neck twice for that company, and this is how she's being treated. We had talked about this before. We had said that WWE was trying to monetize things off of talents outside revenue sources. And the real problem with that is that WWE was taking that money and putting it towards their talent's bottom line. And look, I didn't even think about this. Maybe we did say it, but I'm definitely thinking about it now, especially after stating how they're making money hand over fist. If money you got coming in from other areas is what you're paying your talents with, that means you're not losing any money. That means you're not taking money off of your books. It's coming off of someone else's books. So when you have them file their Twitch and their Cameo and all of that YouTube revenue through WWE, and then it gets floated to the talent, WWE is not spending any money. WWE is not losing any money. They're not paying their talents anything.
They're laundering outside funds.
They're laundering outside funds. They are the fucking middlemen. They are the bank. So it's horseshit. We said it before. We'll say it again. It is horseshit how this happened. It is bullshit that the WWE even thinks that this is okay. I understand that if you want to do it with contracts that are being renewed, future contracts, whatever, someone has to lawyer up against these guys, because it's not just the talent that, like, Paige literally broke down crying on that Twitch stream because of the message that she received at the time, right? She is getting fucked. Anybody, AJ Styles shit is down. Who else's shit is down?
Zelina Vega's down.
Aleister Black. There was like a list of like 7 of them.
Aleister Black and Zelina Vega makes sense.
Yep. I just, I get, this goes back to the old argument. I get if they're using their in-ring names on their, like that would be the equivalent of, okay, so I work for a door company. If I got a side job making money, but used my boss's equipment to do the job, I would totally understand why, if my boss found out, he would be pissed because I'm using his stuff, but he's not the one doing the work. But if, let's say, I get a demo job and I take my own personal vehicle and I do it, my boss shouldn't want any money. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing it on my own. I'm doing something completely out of the realm. I'm not using your equipment. There's no reason to get mad at me for making outside money. That's the way I look at this. If they want to use their in-ring names, then yes, you should have to pay WWE a percentage to use your in-ring name on you know, a side, you know, a side job from WWE. But if you're using your real name, so you're technically not using any of the equipment in quotes that the company is giving you, you should be able to make whatever money you want. It shouldn't affect your bottom line with the company that you're working with, because you signed a contract that you are guaranteed this bottom line no matter what. So unless there is fine print in this contract, which I almost guarantee there is, which is why nobody has lawyered up, because somebody may have tried and failed, because there's probably some verbiage in there that gives WWE the right to do this. Otherwise, especially with this being all over social media, some bigwig lawyer would have stepped up and been like, no, this isn't wrong, just to get himself publicity. Like, I'll take your case. Just to, I took on the WWE and won. But nobody's come forward and done that. So it almost makes me believe that there's some kind of verbiage in there where they can't win and they have to do this. And maybe that's why Paige is getting so emotional, because there's literally nothing she can do about it.
So I'm gonna play the video of it's a 2-minute video, and you're just gonna be able to see, hear everything that Paige says.
I honestly.
Wow, she sounds like Stevie Wonder.
She's listening to music with it.
Deal with this company anymore.
Yeah, wait. Why is it playing that music?
Probably copyright reasons.
And if for copyright reasons,
No, I have to make a
not one
very
person you want
important decision.
you want to be using. Stevie Wonder's known to sue people for using this shit.
Yeah. I can tie it, man.
But putting up a song that fucking, I don't think that was there before. That's what's crazy.
It's probably copyright reasons. They put audio over her audio. It doesn't technically count as the original audio.
I guess. Let's see if I could just find things that she specifically said, then quotes. Because that was the original video that I watched.
About you broke her neck twice for the company, and they say she can't wrestle.
I've honestly got to the point where I cannot deal with this company anymore. So now I have to make a very important decision. I'm fucking tired, man. I broke my fucking neck twice for this company. Over fucking worked. I broke my neck twice for this company, and all I wanted was to. They don't realize that this community isn't just about fucking subs. It isn't about that. It isn't about that. We built a wonderful community, a wonderful fucking family, where this is an escape for a lot of people, including myself. I can't wrestle anymore. I was worked so hard in WWE that I can't wrestle anymore. My neck is fucked. My whole dream got taken away from me, dude. And I had to have something that fulfilled even a small part of that huge fucking void that I lost with wrestling. A huge fucking void. I couldn't wrestle anymore. Something I lived, breathed, fucking shit wrestling since I was a fetus, dude. And it got ripped away from me. And I had to find something that even filled a little bit of that. Twitch was such a wonderful thing for me. It's such a wonderful place for me.
Now I have to make a.
Yeah, it's still there. I will say how I feel. I don't care who you are. I will say how I feel. I don't like being walked all over. So that's stuff that she's tweeted since then. That's another tweet. You know what? I'm going to start looking more into unionization. I've been learning about it by my unionization lawyer. Look, good, but it takes
start a union.
Huh?
Paige, so it's not like Paige is trying to start a union with the
It's
WWE.
never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I mean, it could, but with being in a union myself, there are a lot of pros to being in a union, but I will also say there are a lot of cons for hardworking people. Like it's a double-edged sword. It definitely enhances my life and lifestyle. But at the same time, there are a lot of things that go on in my union that I don't necessarily agree with, but that's kind of just the way it is. At least with independent contracts, every couple of years, you can kind of readjust what you feel you're worth in your contract. And honestly, if I understand that Paige is really unhappy, but if that's the case, just do what you have to do, let your contract go out, and then go wherever you want. Go somewhere where they'll let you, not to say go to AEW, but go to a company like that lets you do these side things and keep 100% of your own personal profit. And she even said, like, for her in this Twitch thing, it's not about the money being made. It's about, this is something that fills that creative void she has from not being in the ring. So for her, this is personal. This isn't money. But again, if you're that unhappy, let your contract run out and don't re-sign with the company.
Which more likely she's doing. But the problem is you get into the point of this where, we had stated before, there's been times that they're using their revenue from Twitch or YouTube, and if they're bringing in money for it, it's going directly to a charity. So now it's getting double taxed because WWE's taking a cut. WWE's taking a cut. It's not like they're giving them the whole fucking thing. WWE's taking a cut. The taxes are already taking a cut. Then you're getting taxed twice. Maybe it's once, because if you obviously had to switch it over to WWE receiving the money. So you're getting taxed on money you were giving away to charity, right? Like, originally you would just be taking all of that money to charity, not whatever WWE takes out of it. It's crazy to me because these are two different communities. This is it's a completely different type of thing. And it sucks that so many people are losing things that do bring them, like you said, Z, it's personal for her. Losing things that take them away from the grind that is wrestling. Obviously it's completely different now because with COVID and stuff, they're not going to live events and they're home a lot more. But when you're so used to being that type of worker, busting your ass like that, and then it just gets fucking ripped away from you, it's kind of like, dude, do you care about anything? How does this affect your? This is like you're putting business over people, and you're doing it in a way that is harmful to other people. Business shouldn't be harmful to people. That's not good business. You eventually lose more than you do gaining it, because especially now, people are seeing a lot of fucking shit that WWE is doing, and they're tuning out.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have been even clip noting WWE just so we can have information for our scorecards for the most part. I know I have.
100% Raw. SmackDown's actually worth watching lately. But yeah, Raw, I can't say I've caught a full episode of Raw in quite a while because it's just been so bad.
Yeah.
I would say like most of us probably clip note most of the WWE product. We're pretty much tuned out of it for the most part.
Well, honestly, if we're talking about that, I don't cliff note NXT because it's probably the best wrestling show on TV right now. Period.
You think WWE is?
NXT.
NXT, like NXT, and that, and in my personal opinion, it goes NXT, slight margin over Dynamite, and then SmackDown, then Raw. So your two biggest brands, your two biggest things in the world are the worst things on TV right now. And SmackDown's not even that bad, but Raw is fucking terrible. You can't even follow it. It's really bad. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose.
You don't put Impact in there?
I honestly, I don't watch, so I can't really. So it probably is above Raw and SmackDown. I would be willing to bet, but in my opinion, I can't really put them on the list because I don't really watch.
I think
Like I kind of know what happens. I do record, but I never go back and watch it afterwards.
I think
There's
Mike and I like the
there's
only.
just so much wrestling to watch that it kind of gets cast aside.
I
I don't
think
think
Mike
there's
and
any
I,
wrestling to watch except Impact.
yeah, listen, I think Mike and I are the only two that pretty much follow. Like that's the one thing we both agree that we both follow pretty much weekly.
I
is
will
Impact.
say this though, the couple of episodes of Impact I watched, and I watched not Bound for Glory, but the pay-per-view before that.
Slammiversary.
I was thoroughly entertained. Like I even like upped my cable package to get Access TV so I could watch it. I just don't.
That's
But,
that's
you know
where
what
I
else you can
started
watch,
watching it.
Impact. You can watch Impact on Twitch.
Nick, you said that
Yeah.
Slammiversary, that's where you started watching Impact?
Yeah, I think I've missed like maybe one or two in between that, but yeah, I'd put Impact up there with NXT. I'd give NXT a slight edge, but it's really good.
Yeah, I just don't care. I mean, and here's the thing, man. My loss of the love of wrestling is not because of storylines, or it's literally all behind the scenes shit. It's literally how these people are now that it just disgusts me to the point where I don't want to give a company a fucking ounce of my eyeball, right? Obviously it hasn't disgusted me enough to not pay attention to these pay-per-views, but we're also doing something right now with the scorecards and shit. So, we're trying to build up and get $100 for our charity by kicking pro wrestling scorecards ass.
Get these hands. We came to the
all
sperm
right,
bank. Come back.
Stay humble until we got a huge lead because they can easily win it back.
I'm just talking about this last one. Did we kick their ass? The last 2, 3, last 3. They whipped our ass the first 4. So I'm not acting like we're infallible here.
I finally found the right website to copy off.
Not Ringside News anymore. Taking them with a grain of salt like everyone else.
You guys all laugh, but I'm kind of being serious.
Ridiculous. Send me the link in a text.
No, don't let Mikey send you any links though. Don't let him reciprocate.
Well, yeah, because you're gonna have a DQ or a count out for every other match.
No.
Or a giant fucking horse cock.
Yeah, I didn't get that link. I'm glad he only sent that link to you.
Yeah, I got it. I sure did.
Now was it only giant because you compared it to your small hand?
Made it even worse.
Oh.
So good. Oh my god, it was so good. I just literally texted him. Let's see. Oh, you did get the link. You just didn't open it.
Okay, I'm glad. Oh, the one
The
you
free
sent me
press
last
article.
night?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you sent it in a way where I couldn't click on it. It just came up as verbiage. It wasn't clickable. It wasn't blue. But now I know not to open it. Although I was talking about it, but I'm like, Mikey just sent me this link where they double counted in Washington County, blah blah blah. But never actually opened it. Now I'm glad I did. Oh, well, unfortunately, I've seen that one before in a different link that I accidentally clicked on. Oh, man. God, that was like really inappropriate. The views of the press.
Yeah.
We do full frontal now on Breaking Down the Ring.
Full frontal.
If you catch the iTunes version, that'll be you know.
Yeah, don't watch the
it'll look
video
like-
of this one.
It'll look like a Japanese porn. It'll just be a blur. A
Uh,
really
We
big
can get
blur.
flagged, put in Facebook jail.
That's why it was real fucking half second quick.
If we start shutting down, it's not retribution, it's Facebook.
Yes, ain't it? Both are really bad. Have someone really bad on it. I think that's about it for us, boys.
All right, cool. I gotta check my fantasy lineup anyway.
We're gonna. Let's see. Yeah. I'm texting Dave that we're finishing now. Yeah. So AEW, Full Gear, great pay-per-view. Go watch it. Pro Wrestling Scorecards losing to Breaking Down the Ring. We're gonna have our charity announced during our Survivor Series picks. So we're making our Survivor Series picks. We are going to announce the charity that we hope Pro Wrestling Scorecards is going to be donating $100 to. Make sure you guys check out breakingdownthering.com. Get yourself some merch. It's available in America's colors. Red, white, and blue. Go check it out. We got the charities donating to the Trevor Project with the one, donating to the NAACP Legal and Defense Fund with the others. And you can enjoy yourself some of this soft, cushiony, lovely. And it's hoodie season, bitches. Get your fucking Breaking Down the Ring hoodie. Nick's got one.
I got like 3 or 4.
Z's got like 3 or 4.
I've got one.
Smitty doesn't even have shirts. He can pretend he's got them. Got more hair than shirts right now, Smitty. Gross. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for paying attention. We really appreciate you guys. We are your ring crew.
It's me, Kishi.
Koenig 19.
And Nick, don't ever call me by my government name again. I'm Z.
And me, the almighty one, Mikey himself. We are out.